Yvonne Bloor, guitarist, teacher, composer. Thank you for inviting us round to your house, Yvonne.
You're welcome back.
Now tell me, how did you actually start playing the guitar and why?
I started quite late. I think I was about 14. I used to dream about having a guitar. I used to say, Mum, I want a guitar. She said, you're not having a guitar. You've got a record player, you don't play it. Well, I couldn't afford the records. You've got a bike, you don't ride it. If I get a guitar, you'll never stick with it. So in the end, I sold my bike to a boy in my class, because it was a boys' racing bike. And my mum came home with a nylon strung guitar. Fortunately, because I don't think we knew the difference between nylon and steel at that point. But yeah, so I sold my bike to get a guitar. And then I had to find lessons, and I'd heard that there was a teacher at the school where I was, and in order to get lessons you had to go up to the staff room and ask for him. He was only in on Fridays, but we weren't allowed up the steps to the staff room at break time, which was my only chance to get hold of him.
Why not?
Used to get detention, so because the staff didn't want people knocking on the door all the time, disturbing them obviously. So yeah, I just thought, well, I'm just going to have to do this. It was an old school with a sort of old creaky staircase. I was petrified. Went up there, knocked on the door.
Whereabouts was this, Yvonne?
This was my secondary school. It was Ossett Comprehensive School.
In Yorkshire?
In Yorkshire, yes, in the West Riding of Yorkshire, now West Yorkshire. So, yeah, so risked getting detention. Can I talk to the guitar teacher? And he came to the door and said, yeah, I'll take you on. So it was great. I used to miss chemistry lessons, which I hated.
What sort of guitar lessons were you having at the time then, Yvonne?
Classical guitar lessons.
Right.
It was good. He was a very thorough teacher. He was one of the early sort of pioneers of classical guitar in Yorkshire at the time. He worked for the Kirklees as a peripatetic guitar teacher. The lessons were free in those days. It was amazing. I learned how to read music. He was very thorough. We went through the Segoreras books, volumes 1 to 3. But when I asked him about grades, he said, oh, you don't want to worry about those, just enjoy playing. Which I think, looking back now, was absolutely marvellous.
Best thing, I think, actually, to be honest.
Yeah. He was a great jazz guitarist as well, but he also used to do proper concerts. I remember hearing Recuerdos de la Alhambra, the famous Tarraga tremolo study for the first time at one of his concerts. Yeah.
So he also used to do a few concerts then as well?
He used to do concerts, and he used to play in a jazz band. He would just oozed music, did Mr. Haig. He was marvellous, absolutely marvellous. And he ran a sort of a music hub group on a Saturday morning. I got to go on 2 buses, never done that before, ever, and go to Pontefract from Wakefield.
Where the cakes come from?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I got to mix with all his sort of like best players from all the other schools that he taught at. And it was great. I learned so much there, and we did a lot of ensemble work as well. So really fantastic training.
Oh, excellent. Where did you go from there then, Yvonne?
From there, then I went to Leicester University, but I did languages because I hadn't got the grades to go anywhere to do music. So yeah, I still wanted to keep up my guitar, and at the time the music department sorted out some lessons for me with Anthony Rooley.
Ah, Tony Rooley.
Tony Rooley.
Great lute player.
Yes, he ended up accompanying Emma Kirkby. But then he said to me one day, wouldn't you rather learn the lute? Because I'm not teaching guitar anymore, but I didn't want to change. Yeah, then Julian Wright, who's a local teacher to Leicester.
A friend of mine.
That's when I first met Julian Wright. He took over and gave me a few lessons. And then after that, I met you. And I had many years of lessons with you, and you absolutely tore me to shreds. Put me through all my right-hand exercises from Adele Kramer. reducing me to an absolute nervous wreck. Get that little finger down, used to say. But yeah, really, really good solid tuition. That I was just in love with the guitar, and I had many tears over it, but I still stuck with it.
Was it that time when you actually started composing as well?
I wrote a few little pieces back then, but not really, no. I started composing much later on, really. I had to really get to grips with music theory, and I taught myself grades 1 to 8 music theory. I took my exams about that time. Then I went on to a lady called Dr. Helen Roberts, and she took me through some horrendous music theory books, all piano based and very complicated. But it was a good discipline. And then after that, I started writing for guitar. I think what sparked me off was the piano-based music theory books I was studying. I had to convert everything onto the guitar so I could hear what it sounded like to complete the exercises.
As you do, yeah.
And many of them were in just such awkward keys, I'd have to transcribe them as well as play them. So I was always writing out things for the guitar and thinking, oh, that sounds nice, and that sounds nice, and I think that's where it started from, yeah.
And then you went to study at the Royal Northern College?
Later, I went on to the Royal Northern College of Music, studied for my Masters in Performance with Craig Ogden, the amazing Australian virtuoso guitarist, and also he helped me get my fellowship of the Royal Schools of Music diploma.
You being a fellow, of course.
A fellow, yes. In this day and age of equality, who'd have thought it? I am a fellow.
Tell me more about these compositions then, Yvonne, because you've had quite a few published now, haven't you?
I've been very lucky, that's all I can say. I started off by sending one piece to Trinity College Music, and they decided that they liked it and put it in their grade 6 book, and it was in the book for 3 or 4 years. And then when they brought out the newest version of their book, they still kept my piece. They kept one from each section and still kept my piece as an alternative piece. So it's been on their syllabus, and now everything that's on their syllabus now is just on forever. So I've been on their syllabus for about 10 years now.
That's excellent.
Yeah, really good. And then when they stopped printing it in their book, because the alternative pieces are not printed up, you can just get it online, then Hal Leonard took it up and asked could they bring out, they brought out a grade 6 book called Rock School Classical Guitar, which totally confused me, but it's in their book as well, so this piece has become very popular. And that gave me courage to approach Production Doors, which is a Doberman Japan Canadian publishing firm, and I really wanted to go with them. I thought if I'm going to be published by anybody, they're the ones, because they looked...
They publish a lot of guitar music.
Yeah, they're the biggest, they're worldwide, they've got the largest catalogue of guitar music, and if you look at the people that they're publishing, just amazing people, Roland Dyens and Steve Goss and people like that I've looked up to so much, and I thought, gosh, it's marvellous. And when I first approached them, I got a sort of a cagey letter back saying, well, thank you, we're a bit busy at the moment, we'll have a look at your stuff and let you know. And then the very next day, they got back to me and said, wow, your music totally is in line with our publishing sort of ethos. Yeah, so now I've had 3 volumes of my music published by them, and they're starting on the 4th.
Very good, very good.
Something very lucky.
Where might that lead to next, do you think?
Well, still composing, I think. I'm working on an idea at the moment. Composition takes me a long, long time, so don't hold your breath. But I've started writing little sort of cameo pieces for people, friends, family, people who've inspired and encouraged me, on their names, a little play, musical games, you see. As you'd know, because I've written one for you.
Yes, indeed.
And so I'm thinking of bringing out my next album will be a collection of namesakes. So that's the title, Namesakes.
Mm-hmm.
My next album's already got the title, so it starts to exist.
Right. Do you actually make CDs and things then, Yvonne?
I do. Everything that I've ever had published.
And you play on them yourself?
I play my own music, so if you wanted to check out any of my music, it's on all the platforms distributed through CD Baby, so Quobus and Spotify and Apple Music, whatever really.
So basically, if the viewers wanted to go on any of these sites and put your name in, they would actually find the music that you've written and played.
That's right, you put the name Yvonne Bloor in and you should come up with my stuff, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting us all round to your house, Yvonne, and thank you for a very informative talk.
You're most welcome. Now shall we have that cup of tea?